Good day viewers, my name is Mr. Famuel Kayode from A Plus Model School. Today we want to look into the subject mathematics. Now on this we want to look into the topic circumference of a cycle. Under this we'll be looking into the meaning and applications of a circumference on a cycle. Now on our next slide we have the objective of the lesson. That is, at the end of this lesson people should be able to 1. Explain the meaning of a circumference. 2. Relate the word circumference to a perimeter. 3. Explain the circumference of a cycle in respect to its formulas. So, to start with, we have the circumference of a cycle. Now, what is circumference? The circumference of a cycle can be related to the perimeter of plane, regular or an irregular shapes. Hence, the circumference of a cycle is the perimeter of the cycle round its circular parts. Now, I will explain this better when we get to the part of a cycle. Now, there are 4 basic parts of a cycle we want to discuss on this lesson. The first one is the chord. A chord is a line drawn from any part of a circumference to another part of the circumference without passing through the center of the cycle. Now, I will explain this with this diagram. Now, you can see the diagram. You can see the chord. Now, the chord is drawn from one point on the circumference to another point of the circumference without it passing through the center of the cycle. That is what that explanation is saying. Now let's go back to our explanation on this. Now, number 2, the diameter. The diameter is the line passing through the center of a cycle from any point on the circumference. Again, the diameter is the line passing through the center of a cycle from any point on the circumference. That is, diameter is now passing through the center of the cycle. I will explain also with that diagram. But before that, you see the formula of diameter is written boldly here. Hence, diameter is equals to 2 times radius. Now, let's go back to the diagram. Now, from this diagram, you see a line that is drawn. It is the longest line in that circle. It is drawn from one point of the circumference to another point of the circumference. So, that line that is drawn is called the diameter. Why? Because it is passing through the center of the cycle. So that is why it is called the diameter. Now, according to that slide, why is diameter equals to 2 times r? Diameter is equals to 2 times r because 2 radius of the cycle will make a diameter. Look at that radius. If you complete the radius with another radius, you see that you have a long diameter line. So that is why diameter is equals to 2 times r. Now let's go back to our explanation. Now, number 3, which is the radius. The radius of a cycle is half of a diameter in a cycle. It is drawn from any point on the circumference to the center of the cycle. So, let's go back to the diagram. Now, you see the radius. The difference between radius and diameter is that radius is half of a diameter. So that's why you see on that slide, you see 1 over 2 times d. 1 over 2 times d. 1, you can see, hence radius is equals to 1 over 2 times d. So, because radius is half of a diameter, while diameter is 2 of radius. I hope you understand that. Now, you can see where d is equals to diameter and radius is equals to r is equals to radius. Now, on our next slide, we have the 4th part of the circle, which we will be taking on this lesson, which is circumference. Now, like we earlier said, that circumference is the perimeter of a cycle. That is, the total length of the circular part of a cycle is called the circumference. That is, the total length of the circular part of a cycle as written down on this slide. Now, hence, circumference is equals to 2 pi r. Now, in this formula, we have a particular symbol, pi. Pi is equals to 22 over 7 or 3.142. Why? Because it is a constant. So in any question you will be given, or any problem you will be given under cycle, you will be given pi as a constant. You will be told to take pi as either 22/7 or 3.142. And if you are not given, just know that your pi is equals to 3.142 or 22/7. Now the circumference is equals to 2 pi r. Now let me explain the circumference in relation to its formula with that diagram. Now you see this diagram, you see the round part of it is called the circumference. Now you see half of a cycle is a pi, which is equals to 180. Therefore the total part of a cycle, that is the round part of a cycle, total round part of a cycle is 360°. Do you agree? Yes. Now if it is 360° and half of it is what? 180, and 180 is equals to a pi, therefore for you to have the total round part of a cycle, you have 2 pi, which is equals to 360. I hope you understood that. Now that is a circumference. You can see r is equals to radius, and I have explained the pi. So c is equals to 2 times pi times r, which is the circumference. So the diagram shown on the next slide indicates clearly the parts of the cycle as listed. So you can see those are the parts of the cycle we have, as we have explained in the slide, on the slide of the part of a cycle. Now on next is the application of formulas. That is, those formulas we have talked about, we want to see how to apply them in our problem on this particular topic. Example 1. The radius of a cycle is 5 cm. Find its circumference. Now you are given pi as 3.142. Now the solution to this is, you have to know the parameters you were given. That's the first thing you do when you have a problem in mathematics. You have to find the parameters you were given. You have the radius, which is 5 cm, and you have the pi, which is 3.142. Now the circumference is equals to, then the next thing is that you have to know the formula of what you are looking for. You are looking for the circumference. So the circumference is equals to 2 pi r. Now circumference, which is represented by c, is equals to 2 times what is pi, 3.142, times what is radius, which is r, 5 cm. So at the end of the day, you have circumference c is equals to 31.42 cm. Press your calculator, you will find out that the answer is correct. So, and that is the circumference of the cycle in that particular example. Now example 2, it says if the diameter of a cycle is 14 cm, find its radius. Hence, calculate its perimeter if its diameter is increased by 2 cm. So in this question, you have to be very careful in attending the question, because it is somehow logical. It require a very logical reasoning. It's not just a quick approach or anything. Don't quick approach this kind of question. You have to think. You have to think very well before you answer it. Now the solution is here. Now the parameters we were given were diameter 14 cm, and we were asked to find the radius. Then we were given the perimeter. We were not given the perimeter. We were asked to find the perimeter, which is the circumference of the cycle. Then we were given an increased diameter, which is 2 cm. Therefore our new diameter will now be what? 2 cm plus 14 cm. Note that when the diameter was increased, it was increased from 14 cm by 2. So that means you add 14 plus 2, then you have 16 cm. Thus we want to look for the radius. We know that there is a relationship between diameter and radius, which is d is equals to 2 times pi times radius. Therefore our diameter was given in the question, which is 14 cm, and it is equals to 2 times pi, which is 3.142, times radius. We don't have the radius, so we write r. Therefore by the time you multiply 2 times 3.142, you have 6.284. Now that is you have 14 cm equals to 6.284 times radius, which is r. Now divide both sides by 6.284. Again, divide both sides by 6.284. By the time you do that, you have something like this. Divide both sides by 6.284, that is 14 centimeter over 6.284 equals to 6.284 over 6.284 times r. Therefore, when you cancel 6.284, you have 1. Then this place will now be 14 centimeter over 6.284 is equals to 1 times r. Now on our next slide, we have radius equals to 2.228 centimeter. So you can see from here the answer is gotten from 14 centimeter divided by 6.284, which is equals to 2.228 centimeter. When you divide that by 1, you still have 2.228 centimeter. Hence, we want to look for the perimeter because we were asked to find the perimeter also. So how can we look for the perimeter? We know the perimeter has been, the diameter here now has been increased because they said we should look for the perimeter when the diameter was increased. So remember, when the diameter was increased, the diameter we'll be using now is 14 centimeter plus 2 centimeter. Remember, perimeter is equals to pi d. Remember, perimeter is equals to what? Pi d. That is, the circumference of a circle is equals to pi d. How do we get pi d? You know that we said 2 times pi times radius, and 2 radius is a diameter. So therefore, we can have diameter represented as 2r. So therefore, we have pi d2. Why I said d2 was that it is an increased diameter. So in the solution, we have 3 equals to 3.142 times 14 centimeter plus 2 centimeter as an increased diameter. Then that is equals to 3.142 times 16 centimeter. When you remove the bracket, you have 3.142 times 16 centimeter, and that is equals to 50.272 centimeter as the perimeter of the circle when it is increased. So therefore, perimeter when diameter is increased by 2 centimeter is equals to 50.272 centimeter. I hope you understood this very clearly. You can go back to it and follow what has been narrated to have a better understanding on this again. Now, lastly for today, we'll be seeing the assignment. Though we have 2 assignments, this is just to prepare us against the normal test we normally have weekly. So number 1 says, if the perimeter of it, you can read that yourself and decode what is there, and make sure you read and reread the whole slide so as to have a better understanding on this lesson. God bless you. Thank you. Now, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscription button so as to get updated on our next video. Thank you. God bless you.